Morning, Wall Street winners. It is Tuesday, February 25th, and it looks like we're going to be in for yet another rocky day. If we take a look at the Bloomberg um, app, you can see that the Nasdaq is just dropped into the red, only slightly in the pre-market. We've got about 33 minutes till the open. You've got the Dow Jones and S&P 500 in the green, but again, only slightly. And the news isn't really that positive. We're hearing more information coming out of the Trump administration around further tightening in China. They've been talking yesterday about tightening on chip sales, semiconductor chip sales. So we'll have to see what happens there. And that could certainly cause some challenges around NVIDIA's future guidance announcement tomorrow afternoon on Wednesday when they come out with earnings. Um, We've got Starlink and Elon Musk testing his Starlink system terminals in US airspace, which some people are calling a conflict of interest for a variety of different reasons. Won't get into that. We have the potential for interest rates now to go up. And if interest rates go up at all this year, I think that's going to be a major shock to the market. But we're not seeing strong earnings. If we flip over to the Yahoo Finance app, you can see the VIX here is up in the 19 range. So finally kind of catching up to where I kind of thought it should have been based on all the turmoil and angst right now around unknown changes. So the inability to really forecast what's going to happen throughout the remainder of the year based on potential changes to trade agreements and tariffs and with wars and other uncertainty. That is tax policy being another. That is all causing a great deal of uncertainty. So you can see the NASDAQ futures are down slightly right now here. You've got crude down close to $70 a barrel. So if it crosses into the 69 range, that will be very interesting to see how long it stays in the 60 range if it does cross that $70 threshold. And as we move down, we had some reporting today. So you can see there's some mix of green and red, mostly green in health and retail. Um, Home Depot came out this morning with better than expected earnings, but a very muted forecast and only slightly better. Same store sales grew, but very, very small. And their forecast for the year is extremely small growth, but profitability. So there's positive in there, but that could also mean that if they do become impacted from tariffs on their imports, they're just going to pass those costs along to the American consumer. So it's going to put pressure on the wallets of the American consumer. And that's never going to be a good thing when it comes to reducing discretionary income on the rest of the economy. So if we take a look at transport, transport is down, probably a sector that you want to avoid at this point. Oil is almost all in the red this morning. There was a mix of green and red yesterday throughout the day, but with crude dropping down to the low 70s, it's highly unlikely we're going to see much green on the screen today in oil. And then technology. I mean, technology has taken a boot to the backside over the last couple of days. And it looks like it's going to continue to. I mean, the threat of the tariffs and or blocking of shipments and the inability to sell to certain countries and deliver those goods that you produce in terms of semiconductors is maybe good for US security, but it is going to be horrible for the companies that are in that industry. So we'll have to see what happens there, but you can see that Applied Materials is off today and it ended down in the high 160s. This was a stock that was in the mid 180s before earnings and then down in the low 170s after. Texas Instruments has had a nice climb. That would be one that I would be looking to exit if I did hold any of it at this point. It had a nice climb up over 200 into the 204 range. NVDL, this is going to be dependent obviously on NVIDIA's results tomorrow. So we'll keep an eye out for that. It is starting off in the green, but only slightly, and it is way off where it was only a week ago. It's down $10, which is more than 10% for that stock from just a week ago. Micron, which is yet to report, it reports in later March, could also potentially be impacted by these reductions in or restrictions in the ability to sell to and ship to certain countries, and based on maybe where it produces as well. So expecting good results out of Micron and NVIDIA, but it's really the future forecast and what they're going to be able to predict and deliver on in 2025 that is really going to make or break the earnings announcement this week for NVIDIA, and this in March for Micron. CrowdStrike have been doing very well as a cybersecurity company, but just with the greater market, it has fallen as well. Palantir, with the announcement of Pentagon cutbacks based on maybe what Doge and the new administration is looking to do, they have fallen. I expect they'll continue to fall a little bit, but it looks like they're up in the pre-market. You've got Reddit, which had bad results. It's been falling. I would anticipate this stock is going to continue to fall. CRM announces tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see what they come out with. Just they should be less impacted by tariffs and anything else. But if the economy starts to contract and shrink, then they're the size of market they can sell into and customers that they sell into currently, they may cut back and reduce their spend depending on the type of contracts they're on. So that is a potential concern there. Scrolling down further, just really looking for big movers at this point. You've got Electronic Arts, which has been in the green the last couple of days. That's been doing pretty well. Shopify down at 165 is interesting that it's in the green right now. That was a $180 stock just in the last 2 weeks. Workday announces, I believe they announced today. Yeah, they announced today as well. So I'm assuming they're coming out after hours. They are. They're coming out today in the aftermarket. So it'll be interesting to watch this one. This is really, if you look at the 1 month, it's really been hovering in this 250 to 260 zone. So if it does get a good print, it could pop, but it's going to need a good future forecast as well on those earnings. Uh, Broadcom yet to announce. So Broadcom is going to announce in 9 days, and it is a stock that jumped significantly on earnings, but the whole market was in a bit of a different spot on earnings back at the end of last year in 2024. So even if they have good earnings now and a good future forecast, we'll have to see whether that moves the needle here as sentiment in the overall market has changed. So one of the things you want to take into account in your trading now is if you're looking to make investments in companies around earnings release, feeling that their earnings are going to be positive, future forecasts going to be positive, the whole story is going to be positive. You also have to look at the overall sentiment in the market because it can be much harder for those stocks to appreciate in value or pop on a positive earnings announcement if the whole market is in a very pessimistic view or mindset. So keep that in mind in your investments. If anything, I would be looking at trimming different things. If you have profits, taking some profits out, waiting for some of these big names, profitable, very successful companies to just pull back a little and for the uncertainty to start to become more clear. So for us to get more clarity around what is uncertain right now. You've got Alibaba up, which is interesting. That took a huge hit yesterday. It is up off $4.50 in the pre-market. NVIDIA just turned into the red, so there you go. Now down at 130 or in the 130 range. Google in the 180s, I think, is just as a long-term play. I think you can't go wrong on that, but it could continue to pull back further. And I mean, I was happy with TSM at 200. It's now down into the low 190s, where I did not expect it to get to. And so we'll have to wait and see on next earnings for that to see if it pulls it out of there, but it's just being pulled down by the overall market. And then you get into financials, and financials are mostly green on the screen in the pre-market this morning, but they have been hit fairly hard as well over the last few days or the last week. You can see that Goldman has come off of highs of 660s, now down at the 626 range. Looks like it's positive in the morning session, but they have been hit hard. We also have some earnings this week coming out from the big banks in Canada. So TD is going to announce in 2 days. We'll have to see what comes out there. There's anticipation that, or speculation that they're going to have higher reserves for anticipated tariff impact in Canada from the US. Bank of Nova Scotia earnings today, so we'll see what they come out with. BMO beat profit on capital markets, wealth management strength, so that is good. And Bank of Nova Scotia surpasses Q1 earnings and revenue estimates 2 hours ago. So that's positive for the banks. We'll have to see if they make a positive move today on the Canadian side. Good luck in your trades today. Please remain take risk into account and be risk averse. I think that this is not the end. We're moving into when a time frame in early March, the 4th, when President Trump is saying that he is going to put 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. That is really shaking things up in international trade, and that is going to impact the market. And it's not good news for the market. It could present some opportunities to short some stocks or to buy some puts, and maybe that's something you want to consider on stocks that you do hold, is buying a put at the price it's at now so that you can maintain or really de-risk your current portfolio by allowing you to profit off of the stock dropping on the put, even though you're taking a loss on the stock itself. So kind of is a bit of an insurance or a hedge in that case. Good luck in your trades, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. If you're liking these videos, please hit the like and